Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're gonna talk about MicroSD Express. So let's dive deep into it. So what is the problem? Well, problem is data production rate has gone bonkersly high, meaning we have cameras that can go 8K, we have cameras that can go 12K, which is stupid, but it is there. So our data production rate has gone up stupendously. Heck, even Raspberry Pi compute, single board computer generates a lot of data. And let's not even go into dash cam. They are limited by the fact that SD cards can't take more data than that. So they are only limiting to one 4K channel. They can't have three 4K channels. It's like, ooh. So SD is no longer adequate speed, does not have the speed that we require. SD being secure digital. Now, micro SD and SD slots are everywhere. That is one of the most common slot that you can find. Is there a memory slot that is more common than SD card? No. Flat out. It was there, it is here, it will be there. So fundamentally, if we can create what we call backwards compatibility, meaning if we create something that is faster and still utilize hardware that is older, that would be super awesome. For example, let's just say I have a camera, let's just say a dash cam of the future that has really good 4K, actually useful dash cam footage, but again, it will require very high bandwidth. So it will, let's have this part, basically SD Express systems. And what if I can take it out of from there and put it in my normal SD card reader and still read the data? So that's the whole point. Backwards compatibility is the key. And you're like, okay, why not just solder memory on everything? Well, it's not great idea to solder memory for all three people involved. First, customer, really not good idea, meaning you get yeffed into it. For example, I have my smartphone, which is Samsung S23 FE. Okay, camera. Now, video quality of it is good. I was like, okay, what if I record a video? I was shocked how much gigabytes of storage it takes just to record 20-30 minutes. Now, back in the old days, it was not an issue. That's the tragic part. Back in the old days, because I had micro SD card slot, I could just put a bigger SD card into it and chill. 2 terabyte SD card was available, so chill. Now I can't do that. I bought 128 gigabyte. That's what I have. The end. Heck, I can't even offline a lot of Netflix, lot of Amazon, lot of YouTube, because again, I'll run out of space. So fundamentally, it's not a good idea for customer. Corporation, again, they also don't like it simply because it locks them up, because they have to play the gamble. It's like, okay, do we want to piss off the people with ludicrously low capacity and then say them, hey, you should have been richer and just bought 2 terabyte model and something like that? They also do not like it, because again, they have to gamble beforehand. It's like how much we have to charge it, how we have to adjust it, and once, let's just say they made a very small unit, nobody bought it, it's stuck. So they also don't like it. Earth really does not like it. A lot of people would use their smartphone much more adequately if it has the ability to scale the capacity, which again we used to have. I started my phone that was 64 gigabyte capacity, first bought the SD card that was 128 gigabyte, then bought something that had 512. That was normal. That was we used to have it. So to solve this issue, SD card went through a glow up period, which was UHS 2. So we added more pins, basically how USB went from USB 1 to USB 2 without pin change. Then 2 to 3 jump, it was like, brah, we need more pins. Same thing happened here, more pins. It did work, but it's still not fast enough. Meaning right now, UHS 2 puppies cannot handle these puppies flat out. So we reached, and again, micro SD on principle, on paper, they're supposed to be manufactured and supposed to be sold, did not happen. But that's the whole point. UHS 2 became a thing. Heck, my camera is utilizing a UHS 2 card. It can't use it. It's just that I'm using it so I can dump footage quicker, but not fast enough. So that's the fundamental problem. SD card is everywhere. It's just not fast enough. So what is the context of this whole thing? Well, secure digital card, as you know, it started in 1999. Now, let that be very clear. Whenever you are making a card like this, you have to have blessing of lot of corporation. Basically, how did CD become a thing? It became a thing simply because A, company successfully sold it, and B, there was multiple companies. Same went with SD card. A lot of companies agreed to it, and they created what we call SD Association. Basically, a one independent body who's like, I am the one who's defining what is a SD card. So it worked, and a lot of people started to use it, because before that people used to smoke. So Sony used to smoke Magic Stick. I'm not joking, that's the whole point of it. Magic Gate. I used camera phones that had that, like Sony Ericsson K810i cyber-shot camera. It used to have that. Again, some people also use those cards, which is media card or smart card or something like that. There are a lot of cards that was introduced in the market, most of them died out because SD took over, and that was full-size SD card that you are more familiar with. So to make sure that they can handle mobile phone, the smaller version was made, this puppy, MicroSD. Back in the day, they did not call it MicroSD, they called it T-Flash. So, but company was like, nah bro, Richie rename it. Then he renamed it by 2005. So 2004, if you have bought it, it's T-Flash card. So 2004, that happens to be a thing. Now, the core aspect of this puppy is that they designed it not just as a computer memory storage. They designed it that it can work with everything from a computer to a microcontroller. What does that mean? That simply means it supports serial peripheral interface. If you are coming from basically Arduino, ESP32, you know what those things are. 4-wire, you can communicate. And that's the whole point. Meaning you can, if you see very old 3D printer, they all have micro SD card. Why? Well, it's super easy to read and write data for microcontroller. 8-bit microcontroller. I'm not talking about like full-fledged computer, x86 or ARM, nothing. Microcontroller can read and write to it because of this support. Serial peripheral interface of 4-pin wire. So that's why you can find things like this, which does not require any active circuitry. Best it will require is a level shifter, simply because the voltage could be incompatible. You could have a 5-volt IC talking to a 3.3-volt system, it will fry it. So you will have something like that, level shifter. Nothing more than that is needed. So that's how it became so ubiquitous in everything. Like heck, you will have a smart meter, it has a micro SD card inside it. You have this, let's say a temperature data logger, it has micro SD card inside, simply because of the serial peripheral interface support. And again, you can read and write very slowly over the time, and when you are dumping it in your card or in your computer, it can use SD mode. Now, SD mode is a 4-bit, 9-pin bandwidth system, meaning all these pins will be utilized when you are talking to a computer. At that point in time, interface goes YOLO. You can go as high on those 9-pin as 130 megabytes per second. So that's why this was so successful. That's why everything uses micro SD cards. Even like cheap equipment are like, why does it has micro SD card? Nothing else exists that is cheaper. And again, this supports serial peripheral interface. Super awesome. It does work. And again, you can pull the card out, dump it into a computer without any issue. It has a different mode for that. Everything is awesome. And all sizes are intercompatible. Back in the old days, there was 3 card sizes. You had full size, normal SD card. Then you had mini SD card. I rarely believe any of you might have used it. 1 or 2 people may have seen it, but it was rare AF. I've seen one Nokia phone had that. And then micro SD. Now, here's the funny thing. All of them have exact same pin count and exact same voltage, meaning you can have passive adapters. As long as you can connect the wire, it will work. Let that be very clear. As long as you can connect the wires, it does not matter whether it's a mini, micro or full size. Does not matter. It will work. So that was another awesome part of it. And they started back in the old days of 2000. They started with FAT16. Now, if you know anything about FAT system, A, it does not handle large file. B, FAT16 is so tiny, it could only make cards that was capable of 2 gigabytes. Whoa. So this is that long ago, meaning SanDisk first early cards they released was 128 megabytes. So 128 megabytes. Now I'm old enough where I used because I had a lot of Sony Ericsson phones, they had like 256 megabytes M2 slots. So 128 megabyte is not that wow. But again, yes, you could see like how quickly we went from 1999 to 2025. You can get 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes also. Although I'm not seeing 2 terabyte in market for some reason. So that's how we started with 2 GB and FAT16 formatting, then FAT32. FAT32 remained in the market for a very long time. Now we have XFAT that has no longer that limitation, that goes up to 2 terabyte in XC configuration. Other updates are under construction that will allow it to expand to even larger puppies. We'll talk further. So it's used in almost everything and in almost every size. So this is awesome technology. It worked. It removed all of the garbage and it became the dominant. It's just too goddamn slow. So SD Association kind of realized this as early as 2018, 2019. Like I'm pretty sure that before this, they're like, yeah, we are living behind. So they worked their ass off to create a new standard. That standard is SDEX, Express Series. Now this series is very simple. All corporation or world of computation is coming to one fact. Thou shall not have multiple bus. Thou shall only have one bus. The end. So what is that bus? PCI Express bus. Because here's the deal. Right now you buy a desktop. Back in the old days, that desktop would have had a processor and it would have a south bridge. That south bridge would have talked to what we call SATA. what we do right now, we have one bus. You have processor, one bus comes out, that bus is PCI Express bus. You put GPU in that bus, you put memory in that bus, networking in that bus, there is nothing else. So same thing, SD is like, okay, thou shall use that bus. So PCI Express bus will be utilized. Okay, that's the bus, okay, that's the pipeline. How do you send the data? Well, you utilize protocol known as NVMe data protocol. Why? Everybody is using it. Like there is no point of creating custom protocols, which again they had to do for UHS2. NVMe is sorted, is done, go home. There is nothing better than this. So NVMe data protocol. Now, core difference between this puppy and its competitor is that this works on 1.8 volt rather than 3.3 volt. Let that be very clear. If you're like, okay, how the heck it can work at high speed without frying itself? Simply because it's not working at high voltage. It's not working at 3.3 volt, it's working at 1.8 volt. And what's the core benefit compared to old SD card? This can sustain much higher read and write speed. Because SDL, if you buy any SD card for video work, you must have seen people talking about V. Basically, it's V10 card, which is useless. V30, good. V60, really good. V90, awesome. Now, V90 still is not good enough for modern times. Many Sony cameras, Nikon cameras, and Canon cameras are like, brah. If you have V90 card, I'm sorry, you have to dump a basically compact flash card. Otherwise, we'll just do not have enough speed to write video files into it. So, same way, this puppy has guaranteed certification. Now, let that be clear. Whenever you're talking about V card, that is minimum guaranteed. You can go above that, but you will not go below it. That's why it's such a big deal. That's why even the cards that is like, V90, you put in your card reader and you benchmark it, it will be super fast, like 300 Mbps, no issue. But then why are they only specifying for V90? V90 means till the last bit of space is filled in that, it will be able to sustain that speed. And as long as within operating temperature, let's say 80 degrees Celsius, it will be able to maintain that speed. That's the core aspect of it. That's minimum speed under load. So same way, now that benchmark has to be upgraded. Again, modern computers require a lot of horsepower. Modern basically cameras are like, brah, V90 is nothing for us. So this series is created SD Express speed class, which is starts from 150, goes to 300, 450 and 600. So at that point in time, the moment you reach 300, you are talking the same ballpark as compact flash express card. At that point in time, the red camera is like, bro, I can use it. I do not have to worry about it. I can use it. So they started again. SD Association has the luxury of time. So they're directly starting with PCI 3.0. That's why they can sustain this sort of ludicrous speed. And they have an upgrade plant right now is that they have a one channel of pin, which will look exactly like UHS2 and it will have extra pins. So if you have only two rows of pin, that means you are utilizing one channel. Same way in your motherboard, you must have seen there are some smaller ports. We say no, it's 4x channel, 1x, 16x. Same thing happens here. If you are only seeing two rows, that means it's a single channel PCI system. And for really heavy throughput, they have a version ready to go that is dual channel. Those puppy would be idiotically fast, like multi-gigabyte kind of fast. Like at that point in time, it's full-fledged SSD fast. So that's the whole point. They are stepping down the voltage. Now, why that is possible? Again, development in silicon, development in smartphone NAND flash, that is super easy now. So that can be done. And how they are making sure that they can work very efficiently, utilize the bus that everybody uses and the protocol that everybody uses. No longer like we are creating this custom. Now, let that be very clear. This does have one edge over every other methodology. It still supports backwards compatibility, meaning, again, if you have, let's say, a Nintendo Switch that utilizes this compact flash, secure digital express cards, you can pull it out, put in your normal card reader, and if it's a good branded card reader, you can still get 100 megabytes out of it. Now, Nintendo will get much more out of it, but you can still get it because it does have backwards compatibility. So that's the amazing part of it. That's why it took them so long, because they wanted to make sure the backwards compatibility is always maintained. And imagine backwards compatibility, all the chip, all the electronics required, all the translation layer required on a micro SD card. They did it. Now, all this would sound exactly similar to Compact Flash Express. And like, what's the difference? Well, Compact Flash Association is another association that was made for cards, huge cards, because again, SD card in the early days was not fast enough, exactly like now. So they created what we call PATA cards. So PATA cards was just like PATA hard drive. They just like, what if you put flash chip, the interface, they use the computer interface. It worked. It was really pro standard for years. Like it was surprisingly successful. So it was like poor people were using SD card, pro people were using PATA cards, so to say. And that was awesome. And they upgraded from PATA to SATA, but that did not fly. That compact flash fast cards did not fly. So they're like, okay, what to do? And that time Sony was creating this puppy, XQD, for their cinema lineup and for other things. So compact flash is like, yo, nobody's gonna trust you because you are Sony. What if I take your card, make my stuff, and tada, you win, I win. So Compact Flash Association bought XQD's license and all that, Sony deal and all that. Basically, they got married and they created what we call Compact Flash series cards. That's why it looks physically same, because it is same. It is pin compatible also. So it is same. Now, what's the core aspect of it? Same thing, PCI bus and NVMe protocol. Exactly the same thing like a computer SSD. It is so much like a computer SSD because you can directly put a SSD into it. Meaning if you are buying C-Fast Type B adapter, you can literally physically put a computer SSD that you can utilize for your basically Framework 12 laptop. Steam Deck also has this size SSD. You can just buy it, put it, it will work. Oh, and be mindful, the core reason why these things are so hot, it works at 3.3 volt. So Sony jumped into this ecosystem quite early on. So they were like, okay, technology was not good enough at that point in time. So like, okay, let's just go with 3.3 volt. That's why these cards are known to be hot. They're very hot. But again, benefit is it is compatible, meaning once enough volume of unit has been sold, it's just the company that is making the NVMe storage. They're like, okay, just package it different, done. Nothing else has to be done. It's like, it's super easy for manufacturing point of view. It does have power hungry. That's the penalty for the driver. And again, heat does become an issue. It has to be designed in such a way that it can support that heat. Basically, NAND flash chip does not like heat, but the controller likes the heat. You do not want controller to become too slow. So you have to make sure the heat is there, but not in a NAND. It's complicated. So C-Fast Express became a thing. Now, the core benefit that Compact Flash Association got was blank check. There was no backwards compatibility. They're like XQD, the end. And if you have a camera that has XQD, you can just update the firmware and run these cards. It's literally pin compatible. So it became a very good thing. And again, Sony being Sony, they smoked again. Here's the deal. They made XQD. They literally made C-Fast Type B, and they're like, okay, what if we F the customer? They made another small thing. Again, exact same BS they created with Magic Gate. It's like, bro, just use SD. It's like, no, we must F the customer. So they're like, okay, tiny one. I'm like, why? This does not even make sense. You were planning to use this. Why you are creating this new garbage? So Type A card, and be mindful, only one company is stupid enough to use Type A. Type A has one lane of PCI lane, and Type B has dual lane. That's why Type B is ludicrously fast. Like this, you can easily see read and write speed of like 1.2 gigabytes. It's like read and write is stupidly high. But again, they also have the same issue. It's like making a chip that is fast is super easy, but making a chip that is fast under all circumstances, that's the difficult part. So they created what we call this puppy, video performance guarantee. Meaning, if this puppy has a rating of 200, meaning no matter what is happening to the card, as long as card is working, it should be able to handle 200 megabytes of write without any issue. And then again, those ever version is also there, 400, which right now, if you buy a new card, most of them will have V400. V400, V800 is there, and V1600. I have not seen 1600. Actually, to be fair, 800 I have also not seen. But again, by V400, it's a red magic camera. Like you can literally take a red camera, put it in. Red camera is like, I'm good. Me good. No problem. So video performance guarantee is there. And again, let that be very clear. Just because it's V400 does not mean that's the highest speed. That means it's the bare minimum. Like it will support that speed. You can go above that. If it's in cold environment, it will go above that. If it's a mostly empty card, it will go above that. It's just that even when it's writing the last byte, it will write at that speed. So that's the whole point. And again, because it's running at 3.3 volt, you can literally have this thing where you have a physical adapter, you pull it out, you put your micro M.2 SSD, bolt it in, plug it in, it will work. Now let that be clear, do not do it if you are doing something sensitive, as in like wedding photography or things are there. Do not do that. If you are like in my scenario where it's like, you know, you are the one who dealing with it, then you can experiment with this. And again, even for full size cards, you can have something that pulls it out and you put normal computer size M.2. Again, do testing for compatibility. And yes, in principle, it can be done with Sony's cameras with also, but again, people are not getting good reliability out of it. Again, Sony has to smoke. So that's there. So how does it compare to SD card? The SD card, the core thing is implementation would be much easier. For example, right now you can buy SD Express cards and you can put in your camera, action cam and all that. Let's just say you bought a huge card, let's say 2 terabyte. You went all out and did all action camera shooting using that. It's a 2 terabyte huge things, which again, for 360 camera, that will fill up not without that issue. It will fill up very quickly. And you're like, okay, it will take time to dump. It's like, nah, bro, you can dump it at 600 megabytes per second right now without any issue. Again, backwards compatibility was a hard thing to do, which they figured it out. So implementation is much awesome. Cooler part, because again, instead of running at 3.3 volt, running at 1.8 volt means inherently less heat generation. So that's there. However, if you're talking just a raw brutality of performance, under all circumstances, CFast Express will be bit better. Not too much better, but bit better it will be there. And again, given the fact that most will be comparing 2 lane to 1 lane, it's like, the only way you can compensate for that is if this is running on PCI 3.0 and your SD is running on PCI 4.0. Then you can get the same kind of, but again, people will like, okay, buy 4 on this also. You will see that that's the whole point. So this is the comparison between CFast Express. So what can we expect in the future? Well, here's the deal. The hope right now people are hoping is that this part would be cheaper than UHS 2 card. Now I am using UHS 2 card not because my camera uses it, because it makes my job of dumping footage into my computer easier. Again, I do it every day, so it is nice time saving. Instead of limiting to 80 Mbps, I'm reaching 200. So almost 2x time saving. So it's a priceless for me. But again, if you have seen prices of UHS 2 cards, they are stupendously expensive, like damn, they are expensive. So what is the solution? Instead of creating proprietary things, use the thing that is already there. All SoC, silicon system on chip, has PCI bus. Heck, even the X-Speed processors that Nikon is using and Bravia processing, so that Bravia, I think they call it different thing. Bionics, and what does Canon says? Canon says something weird. I forgot the name. All of them have PCI. That's how the CFast works. So PCI bus is already there. Everybody has it. Mobile phone has it. Your SoC, your gaming console has it. It's already there. So the bus part is done. It's sorted. It's much easier than UHS 2. It's there. Heck, Raspberry Pi has it. It's done. Go home. And NAND flash system, again, because of development of smartphone, NAND flash is already sorted. A 1.8 volt NAND flash chips is like, bro, we done, we got this. Heck, you can get M.2 that is also working at 1.8 volt, used for very low power applications. So that's there. And you have the backwards compatibility of 100 Mbps with UHS 1 systems. That's priceless. And when you get, SDEX performance, that is 600 megabytes right now. So that's a really good thing. And the first device that is coming into the market is Nintendo Switch 2. Now, this is very good for the card simply because Nintendo will sell a lot of them. It will sell enough of them that day one companies are releasing the products. Right now, you can go from SanDisk, Samsung, PNY. They are already day one, you can buy it. That's a very big deal. That's the benefit of having Nintendo as the main puppy. Again, Sony could not have done it, Nikon could not have done it, Canon, because again, they're not going to sell 130 million units. Heck, their whole alpha lineup barely sells that number. So number is there. So that means these will be introduced into market. Right now, you can buy them in India also. So that's the good part. It's there. It's gonna hit the market like a boom. And again, the fact that it is backwards compatible, I can easily see a lot of people buying just like, hey, I do a lot of 360 shooting. I do a lot of action camera shooting. I do a lot of, let's say, dash cam shooting. In those sort of scenario, what if I can dump the file into my computer, which has like, NVMe going YOLO? What if I can dump that and shrink that time? That would be like, sure, I'll take money right now. So there is a lot of good chance, a lot of good momentum. Like we could not have asked for a better ingratiation basically of this. So a lot of sellers have already started. Now again, look for EX logo. Without that EX logo, it's not the same. And never be confused with EX and XC. XC is extreme capacity. EX is express. Do not get them confused. So that's there. And right now, Nintendos are all the branded Nintendo ones are 256 gigabytes. But again, more than good enough to get get the ball rolling. Although I'm doubtful about camera industry because they'll be frustrated. They can do it. Let that be very clear. They can do it. Because again, PCI Express is already there. They're like, dude, we built so many physical hardware, the frames and all that for 3.3 volt, the voltage rail and all that. And now you're telling me that we can just use 1.2. Like, and again, they have SD card. So like Sony would be like, I made this poo-poo. It's another poo-poo exactly like Magic Gate. It's like, so I'm pretty sure they do not want to do it. But I can see Fujifilm is like, yeah, bro, we do not need like those sort of stupid see-fast. And again, they want small cameras. They can jump into it. Nikon can jump into it. So it's like chances are low simply because they already invested so much money. And again, photographers would be like, what the hell is this? We literally switched so many cards so quickly. So doubtful. Although action camera, they will be stupid if they are not jumping into it. They will be stupid, especially 360 cameras. They're like, bro, we want like large throughput. We can't simply because we do not have the bandwidth. Now it's like, we have the bandwidth. That's a very big deal. Having 200 megabytes of bandwidth guaranteed. That's like, shut up, take money. So that's super awesome. Handheld, they are already using it. Nintendo is also using it. I'm pretty sure next generation of Steam Decks will support it also. Phones need it, but again, companies are like, what if we F the customer? So I want it in phones. Even if they're like, no, we can't allow apps installation, no problem. Block the app installation, but at least allow me to dump these things. Video files. Basically, if I'm shooting a video which consumes gigabyte like there is no tomorrow, put it on card. Second, basically YouTube offline. Third, Netflix offline. Fourth, Amazon offline. Photos, those sort of things. Basically media, just be it as a media dump. And again, it has more than enough speed for full-fledged cinema camera. So any mobile companies like, no, it's not fast enough. They are just like, what if we F the customer? Nothing more than that. So heck, this is fast enough that it can actually do that ProRes RAW that iPhone is doing. But again, Apple cannot do that because again, how would they F the customer? So planned obsolescence will limit the integration in phones. But again, Sony might be able to do that in phones because their phones are not selling, but they are known for camera. They're like, Sony, try that. That's a good idea. So let's see what happens in the future. And this is the whole point. So if you have 2 rows, you have 1 lane. If you have 3 rows, you have double lane. Double lane is not ready right now. It will be when people need ludicrously high speed like gigabytes per second on microSD for some reason. That will happen. So future we will have Raspberry Pi that goes back to SD card. Right now everybody is coming to M.2. They will go back to SD card. It's like, yeah, it's now fast enough. So interesting development, so to say. So this was my presentation on SD Express. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.